Russian missiles strike a hotel in the center of Ukraine's second largest city of Kharkiv, injuring at least 11 people. Released footage shows many of the windows blown out and balconies destroyed, with large piles of rubble in the street below. Ukrainian emergency teams made their way through the gaping holes in the facade to sift through rubble inside after the incident. Kharkiv mayor says several homes as well as a manufacturing plant and a car showroom have been damaged in the district. Jailed Russian opposition figure Alexei Navalny appears at a court hearing via video link from a prison in Kharkiv. This was the first time since his disappearance in December of 2023. Navalny, the most prominent domestic opponent of President Vladimir Putin, is serving a 19-year sentence on an extremism conviction. He had been jailed in central Russia's Vladimir region, but supporters said that he could not be traced since December 6th last year. Navalny has been behind bars since January of 2021, when he returned to Moscow after recuperating in Germany from a nerve agent poisoning that he blamed on the Kremlin. Ecuador's president has now declared the nation is in a state of war. His announcement comes after the nation's drug gangs launched a vicious campaign of kidnappings and attacks in retaliation to a government crackdown. The army has been called into Ecuador to help restore law and order, and as a result, hundreds of people have been taken into custody. The Ecuadorian armed forces said about 329 alleged terrorists were detained and 5 others were killed. Israeli military's chief of staff, Herzi Halevi, tells soldiers in a recorded video that there is no village in Lebanon that you cannot enter and dismantle. Hezbollah attacked an Israeli army base with explosive drones deployed from Lebanon on Tuesday. They hit the position for the first time in what the Iran-backed group declares part of its response to recent Israeli assassinations in Lebanon. Meanwhile, an Israeli attack also killed 3 Hezbollah militants in South Lebanon on the same day. Israel and Hezbollah have been waging their deadliest hostilities in 17 long years since the Palestinian militant group Hamas attacked Israel from Gaza on October 7th. India accords a guard of honor to the Chief of Staff of the Royal Saudi Naval Forces, Admiral Fayed bin Abdullah Al Ghofeli, in New Delhi. Now, the Admiral received a ceremonial welcome at the South Block lawn of the Indian Secretariat that houses the Indian Defence Ministry. Earlier in September of 2023, the Crown Prince of Saudi Arabia was in India on an official state visit. India and Saudi Arabia signed 50 initial pacts in various fields during the visit. The countries also agreed to form a joint task force for about $100 billion in Saudi investment in India, originally announced by the Crown Prince in 2019. Argentina and the International Monetary Fund have finalized an agreement on the country's embattled $44 billion loan program. Latin America's third biggest economy is on its knees after decades of debt and financial mismanagement, with inflation surpassing 160% year-on-year and 40% of Argentines living in poverty. The IMF has agreed to disburse $4.7 billion. President Javier Milei has long pledged that his stern measures would be more drastic than those demanded by the IMF. And now this step is offering a crucial lifeline to Millet as he pursues ambitious reforms. Former South Korean Prime Minister Lee Myungbak leaves the main opposition Democratic Party after expressing disagreement over current party leader Lee Jae-myung's leadership. Lee Myungbak is expected to launch a new political party. Analysts believe that the move could cause a crack in the liberal opposition camp's solid majority in the parliament. It could also bring a twist in the key upcoming general elections this April. Lee said at a news conference that he plans to take a new path of serving the Republic of Korea in a new way from a new position. Myanmar's Junta Chief Myanmar's Junta Chief met with the Association of Southeast Asian Nations Special Envoy. Development comes as Laos takes over chairing the bloc, which has encouraged peace efforts in the country. The meeting comes amid frustrations with the lack of commitment from the generals to forge peace under a plan agreed to among all ASEAN members, including Myanmar in 2021. Myanmar has seen a ceaseless cycle of violence since the military seized power from an elected government in 2021 coup. ASEAN has repeatedly urged the junta to halt hostilities and implement its 5-point consensus. At least 15 people have been killed in violent unrest and riots in Papua New Guinea. The riots broke out in the capital city of Port Moresby and is its second largest city of Leh. A peaceful demonstration calling for a pay hike by police, defence and other public servants escalated into riots outside the Parliament House. Hundreds of people flooded the streets, several shops and businesses were set ablaze. Former US President and Republican frontrunner Donald J. Trump says that he knows who he wants to be his vice president. Trump also added that he is open to choosing someone competing against him for the party's nomination. Former president also mentioned that he is not worried that Christie's exit from the race for the nomination on Wednesday would boost Nikki Haley's candidacy in this month's New Hampshire primary. China sent a new satellite into space from the launch center in northwest China. Satellite was launched by a carrier rocket and has successfully entered the planned orbit. The satellite will be mainly used for experiments such as space environment detection. It was the 26th flight mission of the Kuaizhou 1A rocket. New York City witnessed its second subway derailment in a week. A subway train derailed in New York City, causing service delays but no apparent injuries. The train bound for Manhattan came off the tracks just north of Brooklyn. Service was suspended in both directions between Coney Island and Kings Highway. Emergency crews responded to the situation and assisted passengers of the train. The incident comes almost a week after a collision and derailment in Manhattan that caused minor injuries to more than 20 people. Thousands gathered on Wednesday to pray at Jerusalem's Western Wall for the release of the remaining hostages being held inside the Gaza Strip by the Hamas militants. The site is considered the holiest place for Jews. The release of the hostages is one of Israel's goals in its war against Hamas. So far, around 110 people have been released, while some 110 are still being held captive. According to the Israeli authorities, about 20 people were killed in captivity. Palestinians gathered in Ramallah's Nelson Mandela Square on Wednesday to thank South Africa for its support to Palestine. South Africa has filed a genocide case against Israel at the International Court of Justice. The crowd held banners calling for a ceasefire in the Gaza Strip. Many waved Palestinian and South African flags. South Africa is asking the court to order Israel to halt its attacks swiftly and clearly rejected the flee. Officials in northern Spain issued alerts after millions of tiny plastic pellets spilled by a cargo ship off Portugal last month washed up on the beaches, raising fears of environmental damage. Spanish state prosecutors launched an investigation after receiving information suggesting that the non-biodegradable pellets could be toxic. University of Barcelona expert on floating microplastics. One of the experts said that there is no real way to recover these millions of plastic pellets. Contamination of the oceans and the ecosystems with plastics is one of the biggest problems faced by humanity. More snow and low temperatures are expected in the United States as millions prepare for a storm that is expected to tear across the country this week. This comes on top of fierce storms that brought tornadoes in the south, dangerous flooding in the east, and blizzards through the Great Lakes region. The massive winter storm knocked out power at about 11,000 homes and businesses in 12 states. The hardest hit states so far are New York, Pennsylvania, and New Jersey. Over 300,000 homes are without power at the moment. Now, videos on social media show closed roads after floods hit Maine's Lincolnville. The storm has knocked out power to about 811,000 homes and businesses in 12 states ahead of brutal freeze expected to blanket the eastern half of the United States starting this weekend. Major cities such as New York, Philadelphia and Boston are expected to see flood-inducing rains to taper off in the morning. A bakery in Denmark's Copenhagen has made a special pastry in honor of Queen Margrethe. Queen Margrethe is set to step down as queen on January 14th. Queen Margrethe is currently Europe's longest-serving monarch, and she will be succeeded by her eldest son, Crown Prince Frederik. She announced her abdication on live TV during her traditional New Year's Eve speech. The special pastries are pyramid-shaped, containing passion fruit mousse, marzipan, salted caramel, almonds, each topped with a chocolate crown. The pastries will be put on sale from Sunday. Richtech Robotics has introduced Adam, a two-armed robot barista, showcased at CEC 2024. Adam, equipped with AI, cameras and facial recognition, not only makes a variety of beverages like coffee, boba tea and cocktails, but can also prepare food. Priced at $180,000, Adam offers a potential solution for businesses facing staffer shortages. Customers at CEC praised Adam's skills, emphasizing the quality and the taste of the beverages he produces. The robot's versatility and potential to handle various tasks make it a notable innovation in the realm of robotic food and beverage preparations. Japan's Nikkei 225 share average soared to its highest level since February of 1990, recording a 1.94% increase by midday close on Thursday. This surge is attributed to a weaker yen, supporting exporter shares and diminishing concerns over an impending Bank of Japan rate hike. The market's resilience in the face of a recent earthquake and weak wage growth data indicates a reassessment of BOJ's monetary policy timeline. Now, this marks the index's third consecutive day of gains, approaching its most substantial weekly rise since March of 2020. The positive momentum is further fueled by a robust performance on Wall Street, particularly among mega caps. Now, Apple faces a stock dip of 4% in 2024 over concerns about iPhone sales. This puts its position as the world's most valuable company at risk against Microsoft. Microsoft is closing the gap with Apple's $2.866 trillion market value. iPhone sales in China dropped 30%, raising concerns about competition from domestic rivals. Apple's Vision Pro headset launch on February 2nd is significant, but analysts predict limited impact on 2024 earnings. Apple's revenue forecast missed expectations, while Microsoft is expected to report a 16% revenue increase. In 2023, global sales of fully electric and plug-in hybrid vehicles rose by 31%. This marks a notable slowdown from the 60% growth in the previous year, as reported by market research firm Retro Motion. Now, fully electric vehicles accounted for 9.5 million out of the 13.6 million EVs sold globally in 2023. December witnessed a record-breaking monthly sales figure of 1.5 million units. Report predicts a growth rate of 25% to 30% for global EV sales in 2024. However, concerns arise as some automakers fear a potential decline in demand in Europe, particularly influenced by Germany's decision to cut EV subsidies.